think another thing with the EDMs or dirt modifieds is they're newer, and the rules aren't as, I'd say, prescribed like the DODC set are. Where's your EDM button? That is the new style EDM rule or dirt modified rules for via DODC. This body's build out hand build out 20,000s. Once I can get a moment at work to finish the molds, we'll have a molded version of this mod, and then you'll be able to mount it whether it's a foam tire car or a rubber tire car, same body. But in with that, you find yourself, because the rules are more open, more isn't necessarily better. If he's already begging it to turn in, he'd want more Lexan up here or more Lexan forward to help patch and turn it. You see a lot of cars, they're got the panels up higher and further back, and they've got more acreage, and that's just weather vaning the car more. It's going to hold that much more surface area. It's going to lock that car straight, and they're going to have to work harder to get it to rotate. You get a good balance. That's some rules are in play to keep things fair, and some rules are in play to keep the sandbox easy to play in, and this is one of them. Also, it looks, by scale and by size, it's closest to what the Northeast modifieds are. So we call it rationalism. That's why it comes to be. But there's not a lot of spoiler on it. You're already boxing all this air, and you're already trying to get to rotate. That little bit is all you need. And because you've organized it so well, changing that spoiler angle is very sensitive. It's the most sensitive you'll have in any car. You can go from that to about that, and it'll change the car. It'll be like moving the wing forward and backward a click. It's about the only, you do it on a late model, and you're like, you gotta really squint your eyes and go, did that really affect it or not? On here, absolutely. That's one of the, I think, key differences you see with those bodies. The flopper bodies, I think some of you guys have heard of from the East. They would build these things tall, as far off frontal as they can get them. And what would happen is when you enter the corner, the air sees this corner. Well, they make the panels out of like 10,000s and wrap it with vinyl, so the bodies are really floppy. So when air turns in and it sees the air and it pulls the body like that, the whole car will hook, and it's literally flying the car by air, flying the car. We've had cars that are good and took 4 shocks off of it and put 4 tie rods on just to prove it, and it didn't change the car but a half second over a 4-minute run. The track was fairly smooth, but that proves the point. It didn't need any suspension, you didn't need any dampening, you just set ride heights and wedge and go, and you're flying that car with a body. The downfall with that is, as a lot of guys know that have changed from it and ran people off of it, is it'll also flop this way. And if you're outside, or if you're on loose dirt, and you get your car hooked up, well, now they'll see air here and hook the car this way too. So they're a lot harder to drive outside. They're a lot harder to drive when you've got traffic. And it takes a super quick hand to drive a body like that. I know I've seen over my time coming out here, I've seen guys that have purchased one of these bodies and they're trying to run on loose dirt. It's like, I feel mercy for them. It's the first thing I come over and I talk you into putting some braces on this thing, because you'll be amazed how much better it's going to be for you. Well, I thought this thing's a cat's meow. No, it is this crooked up example. Not here. If I have any questions, I think we traveled on.
Yeah. I just got one quick question. Sure. When you were talking about your caster blocks in front, let's say all the wheels were set at 0 and you had split caster.
0 as far as like just straight? Or?
Yeah, just straight, and then you had split caster as far as your blocks go, and you had more caster on the left, and you just rolled the car without power. Wouldn't that car naturally go to the left?
More caster on the left front. The right front stood up. It's going to want to pull the car to the right.
It's going to want, oh, no wonder.
Generally, or stand the left up, lay the right front back, it'll make the car want to cut.
Just like if it was off power and I rolled it.
I think you're thinking like in go-kart sense.
Well, I'm just thinking of what I can do to my car, but just naturally that car is going to want to steer to the left if I have more caster on the right. If you split the block, you guys got them split more on the right than left. Maybe to use it to a different way, but I'm just wondering how that car would naturally.
Here's where I'm actually getting into it, and it's my reasoning for doing it is not on caster alone, but here's what you have. If I turn the tire, if I have 0 caster in the car, and this is the axle, I turn, make a left-hand turn. This is the left front, so the front of the car's over there.
Okay.
The tire just traveled straight over. It didn't change any weight or jack any weight. Now, if I put a bunch of caster in the car and I turn it, it just came down. The right front just came up and it unjacked weight. So if I apply that thought, if I put more caster in it, I'm afraid that on the left, for just speaking of the left front alone, it should make the car want to hook a little bit more in the center. The same thing you can achieve with the spacers on the axle. But further, if you have the arm here and you turn it, it only jacks this much weight. But if I extended the tire, look how much more weight it jacked. Generally, moving the left front out to make it hook more in the center. Kind of sets the radius of the corner to make it hook more in the center, and it can almost rotate it so much that you'll lose a lot of forward drive to get it up off. Generally, moving the right front out to make the car less aggressive getting in. Mine's kind of getting a little edgy when it's grooved up getting in. I might put half that spacer. That's a 1/8 inch, but like half a spacer. Move it out so it numbs it up a little bit. The more you move the right front out, it'll numb the car out. But yeah, it's kind of cruel with the caster stuff versus the model at this point, because you're so overpowered versus the weight, and then you're talking about jacking that weight unwillingly because of what you get with the steering and the pickup. But I know where you're at. Like a go-kart situation, if they're racing oval karts, if it's a track where they're always turning, it might be 3, 4, 5 degrees split. If it's somewhere it's more of a straight true oval, it might be 1 or 2. That's a big setting.
Right. Well, my thoughts on my car was if I can come up, because my nitro car is coming off the corner really good. I don't want to touch. I'm afraid to touch it. But if I could split that caster a little bit on the front to have that thing naturally turn in, because I'm having trouble coming in, pushing in. I want to get it to just naturally want to do it, so I don't have to do it.
I would say I would try another setting on the car.
Okay.
I wouldn't chase it with the caster.
Okay.
I would, maybe take a degree out, straighten the right rear up a degree,
Okay.
or put the right rear wheel space the right rear out, or take a little wedge out of it, put a turn in the right
maybe
rear.
a little wing on the front too. I don't got a wing on the front. Would that help? A little wing on the front?
Oh yeah, instantly. If you don't, you're already giving that up. So
Okay.
you
Ball stud placement on the rubber tire extender.
ball stud placement on which one?
On the rubber tire extender.
Rubber tire.
On the rubber tire extenders.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I was.
You get humped? I thought it was way out there, didn't you?
On the, we have those little carbon extenders that go on the arms. There's 3 little positions. That way there's 6 choices you could guess on and wonder what goes on. Generally Nathan's got his back on the spindles, and that's fine. Back on the original holes. That just keeps it simple. On my car, I've got the arms on the extenders. For the loose dirt stuff, we'll generally start in the middle on both sides. And what you'll do is, if you move this back, it'll increase the amount of acronym. It'll let the left front turn more than the right front. If I was to move, the right front's got 3, both sides have 3 holes. If I move the linkage from the middle position to the forward position on the right front, it'd make it turn a little bit more than the left front. The more acronym you run, and that's having the left front out-turn the right front, it'll help it turn in the center, but it also can make it hook center off. So if you wanted to make a car turn more center off, you could move it back here. If the car was good centering off and just kind of lazy getting in, this is more short track stuff, I think, where the track's a lot more like a paperclip, long and narrow. You want to speed the right front up, so you move that. You could move this link forward, so the right front will get the turn a little quicker and faster versus the left front and get in front of the car, so to speak. For those who really have understood this theory more, like a lot of the cup cars at Martinsville, where that right front is almost turning more than the left front. They don't care how they get that car to get turning, but they'll shorten that amount of acronym up just to get the car to cut a little quicker versus like Richmond, where it's more of a D-shaped round track, and it's not as necessary.
Sort of evens it out like the old center point steering used to.
Similar, yeah. Center point had it kept the linkages on the same planes
Yeah.
too, but it's
It evened it out a little bit more.
yeah. But I mean that's the general gist of it. With our cars, that middle position on both sides for the loose dirt cars is the best place to start. With the foam tire cars, it's generally middle on the right, and then all the way back on the left, just to get it a little bit more accurate. So the left front doesn't let the left front do a little bit more work, and not let the right front push and do all the work. It helps get the car a little bit more stable. Does that answer the work? Anybody else have any other questions?
As far as motors go, like you say 8.5 or 9.5, whatever, at what point would you, or do you ever play with boost and like drop back to a 13.5 say, and then run like boost, or you just pretty much throw a motor in there and just use it?
Excellent. The Dominator class, four-wheel drive class, and those are 13.5s, and mine is boosted to, it doesn't say a number, it says max. You just turn it all the way up, and gear it all the way down, and let that thing spool out. That's how it works best in oval. And to me, that's a smoother motor. The downside of it is you have heavy tires, heavier cars, and you get a lot of heat naturally by boosting. So a lot of heat and speed up. If I'll bring a foam tire example, a lot of guys will try to run 4.5s with foam, and they'll gear. The only way they can get them to make top end is they gotta stack the gear on it, and what they run out of first is heat in the motor. So they can only gear up as high as the motor will take heat. On the flip side of that, you can put a 6.5 in there and boost the speedo way up and take some gear off of it, and you have a milder motor. Like Nathan was saying, it's 2 winds less, so it doesn't have that sharp jump, but now the speedo will make it pull from the mid to the top range, so the car feels a lot more linear, a lot more like stock, but it'll speed controller do the work and go down the straightaway. Now the speed controller gets hot, but it's got the greater heat ability to show the heat, and you put a fan on it, and none of it's worry. So when there's guys running 4.5s on the foam tire world and gearing the Jesus out of it, I've got and they're like 170, 180, and you're like, man, I'd love to gear up, but I can't. I'm running a 6.5. I don't have to worry about my car being real jumpy, and it'll do all the work, and the speed controller is going back like half its temperature range, and the motor is 145 degrees. So to bring that to loose dirt world, yeah, if you had a 10.5 and you had a Tekin and